New EU4 DLC is coming next Tuesday, so 13th of September 2022. And it's the first DLC since Emperor actually focused on Europe. Isn't that exciting? Today on this video I'm gonna focus first of all on what is DLC is bringing, but even I think more importantly, what is being changed in the free patch, which is massive. So what we can expect? It can be new mission trees, rebalance of the religions, combat changes, new naval doctrines, government reforms changes, quality of life changes, ideas rebalance, estate privileges changes, AI improvements, monuments, and many different rebalance changes and of course new achievements. Plenty of fun! So let's get started. And actually before we start, I have Lions of the North DLC giveaway for you. All you have to join it is to be a subscriber to this channel, leave a like on this video, and tell me in comments what is your favorite change coming next Tuesday. Let's start with the major part of the DLC itself, the mission trees. So obviously Lions of the North is focused mostly on Scandinavian countries, but you can expect also plenty of missions for nations around the whole Baltic Sea. What's important about the focus of this whole DLC, it's not like some of the old mission trees, like oh just expansion, focus, go expand, go get a person union. Of course there are some missions like this, but the focus on most of these mission trees is that they are providing you choice of completely different paths. That means that you can play 3 different campaigns as separate nation and each one of them is gonna be completely different. And the game changer that is allowing that are branching missions that we saw already in the previous DLC, but here we are fully embracing them. And this way, if you go and play Teutonic Order, we're gonna have Prussian path, obviously focus on German Ottoman Empire following Prussia, and we have the Crusader path. And the Crusader path is absolute fun because it allows you to form a holy horde with all of these bonuses, which is also allowing you to go and raise the hell out of heaven's provinces. It's very similar for the Livonian Order, which has Livonia part, which has formed Livonia, as well as Crusaders path that allows you to form Crusading Empire with militarization mechanic. I want to say at least on high level what each of the nations is getting in this DLC, and if you want to know more details, I linked in the description a playlist where I'm talking about each of the changes separately, because I was pretty much commenting on each of the dev diaries that were coming. So this way, for example, Riga has 3 branches and their mission trees are focused on making OPM gameplay enjoyable, meaning that you're getting a lot of bonuses to your capital and you can form a Catholic plutocracy that is allowing you to sell indulgences to other nations. Then we can move to Scandinavian countries. Denmark is focused on uniting Scandinavia under Kalmar Union, we even have a special government type for this, and take over the whole Northern Europe. They have reworked and boosted ideas as well as focus in their military to recruiting a lot of mercs with extra bonuses, extra merc types. There couldn't be a DLC focused on Northern Europe without Sweden's homeland of Paradox Interactive. Swedish mission tree is focused on breaking free from Denmark, uniting Northern Europe and leading the Protestants League in the religious war. The missions are focused on internal development, including boosting Delaskogent or special estate privileges that allows you to develop woods and forest cheaper. They are getting unique government reform, which is a huge boost to the military, allowing them to go and fight Prussians. It is allotment system that gives you all of these bonuses, as well as unlocks Caroline's new special unit. It can also unlock additional bonuses on the cost of lower force limit for them. Norway, what can Norway be focused on? Well, gaining independence, getting in the British eyes, colonization, as well as internal missions, including privilege that is reducing the death cost on the mountain, highland and hills provinces, as well as bonuses to your naval gameplay and marines meta. Each of these 3 nations and nations outside can form Scandinavia, which is no longer useless as in the past, it's easier to be formed, it's getting unique, great ideas, and it's actually useful. What's interesting, based on who you formed Scandinavia as, you're updating your old mission trees. So Denmark, Norway and Sweden are keeping the old missions, and then they unlock whole new branch of the missions that are Scandinavian, and each of them has completely different missions when forming Scandinavia, pretty much following them previous paths. At the same time, if you form Scandinavia someone outside, which is a little bit harder, you're gonna get a basic Scandinavian tree, which is still really awesome. How about my favorite Poland? Well, not only Poland, because Poland, Lithuania and Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth are getting very unique missions. Of course, they had them already, but right now they are hell out of more of fun. Poland is receiving same and elective monarchy actual mechanics, including freaking parliament. Poland has a really good way to expand by relations with Bohemian Hungary, which can be by force, or it can be diplomatically, which is harder but still doable. And what's important, also the ideas are updated and boosted, and even more importantly, both Poland and PLC are getting special unit which is called Winged Hussars. These Winged Hussars are gonna be absolutely broken, +1 cav shock, etc. But you're gonna have 4, maybe 10 force limit of them, depending on your development of the accepted cultures. So it's very hard to get a bigger amount of them, but it's super rewarding. It's gonna be your special task force that is gonna destroy the enemies with tons of the dealt damage. Lithuania is also getting really good mission tree, which makes them very fun to play. And if you form Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, you're unlocking new branch of the missions, and same for Poland and Lithuania, and similar to Scandinavian nations, as I mentioned a second ago. Gotland is also getting a completely new mission tree with 3 completely different branches. When you go Pirate, you go Monarchy, or you go a Trade Republic path, and each of them is completely different gameplay, and it's tons of pure fun. There are nice changes to Zlewikk mission tree, meaning that owners of Emperor DLC, you actually get a completely new updated Zlewikk mission tree, which is far bigger and more fun than the previous one. At the same time, Hamburg and Bremen are receiving Emperor mission tree for Zlewikk, which was far smaller. And obviously, Zlewikk is all about spreading Hansa League, including a mission which makes all of the nations in your trading league your actual subjects. At last, final nation that I want to mention is Finland, that is getting a special mercs Hakatipalita, which is CAF mercs, and 2 fun stuff they're getting. One of the provinces where you can put a fort is getting +3 max attrition. It means that when a max attrition is 5% normally, they get it up to 8%. The province has +3 attrition for enemies, so I can get it to 8. And a dice bonus for defender +2 on this province. So this province is, especially against the ice, it might be a very good province to just catch and starve them to death. At the same time, they're getting these bonuses permanently for the whole country. And in this small update to Novgorod, which is not part of the DLC, I believe, where when you form Russia's Novgorod, you're getting a Czech Republic special government. Whew. That was a lot of missions. I told you that's gonna be tons of fun, and I just scratched the surface of what is going on there in these missions. Second thing that is changing are religions rebalancing. First of all, Anglican is getting boosted all choices, because even here they are really nice, and at the same time they're getting all of these new choices. Do you see that? It's gonna be actually enjoyable religion, and probably one of the best religions in game. So yeah, it feels like Protestant is a little bit behind with all of these changes, so at the same time, yes, Protestant is also getting boosted with 3 new aspects, and also picking a specific aspect is getting you additional bonus. Now it's actually a good place to mention that everything that I'm mentioning, I know that through the dev diaries. So all of the pictures that I'm showing, all of the numbers that I'm commenting, they could change before the release of the DLC. I'm only showing you what was in the dev diary. The final number could be a little bit different in some of the cases. At the same time, Reformed is getting also additional second modifier, so each of the choices had a specific modifier. They're adding additional modifier to each of the choices. So this way, Trade Focus is getting +10% trade steering, War Focus is giving +20% manpower recovery speed, and Stability Focus is giving -10 development cost. They're all changes to the combat system. And if you want to see more details, I did record a whole video about this, so there's gonna be more details over there. But on a high level, they're trying to solve 2 issues that came after the recent patch. First of all, the longer battles that are far too long, and second of all, no stack wipes. It should be more or less better in this release, and they did a couple of things to make that happen. For example, there's rework of the backward reinforcement. Right now it will not reinforce right away, but instead it will now reinforce daily. You can reform 2 artillery daily and another +1 per each 2 of maneuver pips on your general. Maneuver pips are gonna be very important. There's a new mechanic which is breakthrough, which is only for modders, so you're not gonna see in vanilla, but you can activate it in a mod, and I'm gonna definitely test it in my MP game. How the breakthrough works is that when a unit breaks first row unit, there's a change that you're gonna also attack the second row unit, so the artillery, which should be very useful for the CAF. For the other stuff, there's changes to insufficient support for CAF, so right now you're not getting right away a negative modifier for having too much CAF. Instead, it's gonna scale depending how much you go over your CAF to inf ratio. Far better. There's also a rebalance to the artillery pips, so you know, in the current patch, there's pretty much no choice of artillery. You just choose the one that has more defensive pips, especially if there are 2 of them or 4 of them. And now in this patch, the plan is to make a really good choice. For example, on deck 10, you're gonna either protect your first row from shock, so it's against both infantry and artillery, or you maybe want to go and do them more damage. That depends who you fight against and what type of military modifiers you have. It's also the goal to change it a little bit so the late game battles are gonna be actually shorter. For Omens of Rule Britannia, they added plenty of new naval doctrines, including one from Denmark, Norway, Dutch, Venetian, Korean, Japanese, and Zlewikk. There are tons, and I would say tons, changes to government reforms. I don't have time to go over all of this, but the goal is, right now, pretty much each of type of the government is gonna have more or less 10, at least 10, if not more tiers of government reforms, and each of tiers has far more choices. So this way you're not, you know, ending up with always the same choice. No, here you have a bigger choice with not only giving you bonuses, but also there are some specific modifiers that you're getting on top of the bonus. For example, seizing land from your estates is not causing rebels, etc. This type of fun stuff. And it's pretty much for everyone. It's for the republics, it's for the theocracies, it's for the monarchies, and it's again in the videos linked in the description. There's like more of me discussing what type of bonuses are there, but I think it's a very good change. And you might think right now, okay, if there's so much of this, how am I gonna get so much reform progress to achieve it? Well, there are changes to this, about which I will talk a little bit later. There are plenty of quality of life changes, including possibility to detach special units. Yes, that's so useful. Plenty, I would say plenty of modding additions, so expect a lot of new stuff coming in the mods, and a new console command. I see you, Life, you're gonna use it. Remove country, that's pretty much removes the country completely from the game. So for example, if you don't like playing against Ulu, you can just go and remove it from the map. There's a big rebalance of the ideas, and I don't even have enough time to talk about all of the changes, but on a high level, naval ideas are supposed to be more fun, and I think they are gonna be more fun, because for example you can go and breach walls pretty much for free while sieging down forts on the coastline. Death meta is getting nerfed. Some might say, oh yeah, it's dead. No, it's not dead, it's gonna be still very alive, just far more harder to do, but it's gonna be still useful. The nerf is that you're not necessarily go echo ideas, because it gives 10% death cost instead of 20%, and quantity echo ideas privileges is not giving to any death costs. But at the same time, they're adding death costs in the other places, like different ideas or expand administration, so the death meta will stay. There's a really big and interesting nerf in quantity ideas and aristocratic ideas, in what amount of the force limit we are getting in game and what amount of manpower we're getting in game. Which is good, it should break many players just going, oh, I'll go quantity, especially in multiplayer game. Should be more interesting thanks to that. And what's interesting, and I want definitely to try it, is there's a big buff to espionage ideas, maybe even making them useful. There are changes to e-stage privileges, so besides some unique e-stage privileges that we are getting within the DLC, you could see them, we also have the rework of the e-stage privileges, because right now, instead of 4 limit of privileges that you can have at the same time, the limit is increasing to 6, giving it far more choice and possibility to gameplay. And remember, that might be a trap to never get any absolutism. And of course, on top of that, we are getting a reworked UI to have enough space for these privileges. There are plenty of AI improvements, and that's something that many of you actually definitely wanted, like for example, less forts, I hope. Building builds, it's good that I'm improving the force. That should happen, that wasn't happening before. Let's hope that we'll see actual change on this part. What's important, nations, depending on the level, so it's Atachi Kingdom or Empire, are gonna seek uniting bigger amount of lands based on the cultural unifications. For example, an empire is gonna try uniting the whole culture group. So from the test that they did, we should see more of Qing or Italy being formed by actual AI, and it should be also fun for the single player campaigns, because that might be our long-term boss. That reworks peace negotiations from AI, which will express a little bit more in details why they are not accepting our offer. They should be more bold to declare independent wars, so maybe Sweden actually gets independent more often. Then the change that I think I like the most, they are fixing passive subjects. Of course, they are already well listening to most of our commands. Right now they fixed and changed some stuff. They should focus and follow our orders even more to serve, for example, to attach to army, to reinforce the troops, or go and attack someone. And at last, they also improving army in naval handling. So, for example, Spain is gonna be better to transfer its troops, not keep everything in the new world or nothing in the new world. Do better reinforcements, attrition handling, or size of the stacks handling, which should be actually interesting and pose us more difficulties for the gameplay against them. Leviathan DLC, my favorite, are getting actual new monuments. I think there are 8 new monuments coming, including a copper mining Telaskogen, city of Visby, so Gotland, as well as Trakai Castle in Lithuania, or Salvador de Bahia in Brazil, and a few others. There are plenty of other rebalance changes that we can expect, including changes to the crown lands. So for example, if you get up to 50 crown lands, you're gonna get 20% reform progress, so you want that fast, and then it scales up to 50% and 100% of the crown lands. Being above capacity hurts more, which is, I think, extremely good change that should limit our expansion a little bit, especially in early game. We're getting -1% admin efficiency for every 2% government cap you're above. Great change, but at the same time, to go and balance it, they did even better change that town halls and card houses are not taking a building slot, and state house right now decreasing local governing costs by 25%, and on top of that, -25 flat decrease. Slack and recruitment is halved, so right now you're not getting as much manpower. Good, that should be a nice path to army professionalism. Expanding infrastructure has massive boost. Instead of 5%, getting 25% dev cost decrease, which, yeah, I told you, dev beta is staying, and ramparts are giving 1 combat roll to a defender. Two last things that we are getting is, first of all, unique pack that is part of the DLC. Just take a look at this, boys. Don't you love these pitchforks from Dithmarschen peasants? And last thing, achievements. We are getting 11 new achievements, and some of them, well, as usual, Paradox is never disappointing with the memes within the achievements. Alright, boys, I think this is all for this whole summary. You can see it as told you, 1.30 pure is gonna be a huge patch, while at the same time you are getting Lions of the North DLC with plenty of great flavors. So, you know, if you like playing in Northern Europe or around the Baltic Sea, it might be worth to consider taking a look at these changes and maybe trying it out. Of course, I'm not gonna convince you, you have to decide by yourself, but obviously I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna play it hard, probably starting with Poland. Okay guys, so for today, thank you so much for watching, and remember that we do have a free Lions of the North DLC giveaway. All you have to do to join it is to be a subscriber to this channel, leave a like on this video, and tell me in comments what is your favorite change from the ones that I mentioned today. Alright, perfect. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you very, very soon.